Bad series. Bad series.
Sad series.
It was bad. That was a bad series. In the rare 5-game set, the Jays crumble at home. Pain.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into why. Like, it was again like one of those where it's like the order in which the things happened made it feel worse too, because you win the first two and then just
Kevin Gosman, be okay. We're going to talk about the whole thing. We're going to talk about the next series. We're going to read your emails. I'll tell you if anybody else emailed us. Spoiler alert, they didn't. It's all on Locked On Blue Jays, and it's right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Ben Shulman, with you on Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, and this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Ben, how you doing, fella?
I'm doing good. I'm actually back in Toronto now, so that's kind of cool. Got to go to a game. I'm doing good. Although before we started actually in the podcast, everyone has seen it already, but we just wanted to send our best to the Blue Jays and the Budzinski family. Obviously, a tragic incident there, and as much as we're gonna go talk here about baseball because that's what you want to hear. His health and well-being and mental health and his family's is much more important at this time. So we're hoping the best for them.
The thoughts of the Locked On Blue Jays are definitely with that family. But we'll back on to the Jays for a second. This is a brutal series. One where you kind of thought, all right, you're against a division rival, one that's been lacking as of late. The Rays had not been playing their best baseball, as Ben and I spoke about in our most recent episode covering this series. They weren't playing very well. And it stinks that you have to then watch them lose 3 games and a little bit unjustly in losing Gosman, right?
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to hit my storyline right now?
Yeah, hit your storyline, man.
My storyline is that everything cratered after the Kevin Gosman incident. That was the game I was at. Super excited to go see Shane McClanahan versus Kevin Gosman. The Blue Jays had won 2 games in a row to start the series, one of them convincingly. And I wasn't that confident in this series because 5 games in 72 hours is a ridiculous thing for Major League Baseball to think is okay. And then you add in the fact that the Blue Jays already have questions about their starting pitching depth, already have a lot of relievers injured and probably have questions there too. And then in a game that, sure, maybe you wouldn't have won anyway, McClanahan goes nuts. You have Gosman out and Casey Lawrence has to pitch. And once you lost that game, well, yeah, you probably weren't the odds-on favorite to win the Thomas Hatch game. And then once you set up winning back or losing back-to-back games, you have no momentum going into the final game. And we love Ross Stripling, but Ross Stripling versus Shane Baz isn't exactly like a great matchup anyway. So it really felt like everything was going as well as it could have. I mean, in the first inning against Shane McClanahan, they scored a run, and then Gosman gets hurt. They didn't get another hit off McClanahan, I think, until the 6th inning after that first inning. It just, the tide completely turned. And like you said, x-rays came back negative. That's great. Hopefully this isn't long-term at all for Gosman. And they did say at first just a right ankle contusion. 100-mile-per-hour liner off the ankle, though, cannot be good. So the quicker he's back, the better it is for the Blue Jays because they need him badly.
Especially for a pitcher. I mean, whether it's your plant foot or your driving foot, it's going to hurt, especially the ankle. So Gosman, we hope he's not out at all. But if he has to be, hopefully not for a very long amount of time. My storyline is that this one could come back to bite the Jays. I say it a lot on this podcast, and I try to drive home how important in-division rivalries are during the season, how important it is to beat the in-division opponents during the season. Going into the end of the year, if the Jays end up missing the playoffs somehow with the 3 wild cards, you're going to be looking back at series like this one and saying, why couldn't they get one more game? Think about what happened last year. So close, but so far. and all they needed was a couple more wins. So you really need games like those, and you really, really need to get wins like you could have had against the Rays in this series, because everyone counts, yeah, but when you're directly affecting the influence you're going to have on the AL East standings, it's even more important. So this one, while I hope it doesn't, could definitely come back to bite Toronto.
Yeah, the Rays are now a half game back of the Blue Jays. Best thing for the Blue Jays that happened is while they were losing to the Rays, the Red Sox lost 2 out of
Imploded.
3
That was
to the
fantastic.
Cubs. I mean, that's just horrific from Boston after having this great stretch to lose the series to the Jays and then lose a series to the Cubs is just magnifico. But yeah, all three of these AL East playoff teams, not including the Yankees, like the wild card teams, I should say, are now within a game of each other. It's going to be fine margins through this whole year. We're halfway through the year. We kind of know how good teams are. And these three teams are about as good as each other. So you have to beat each other when you can. And like you said, they didn't get it done. And even one more would have felt great. If you win one more game in that series, you win the series, which I do think matters, even though some would say it doesn't always matter. You're ahead of the Red Sox, and you at least have a cushion of the Rays. You're 1.5 up instead of now just being half up on the Rays.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, I'll lead off with my MVP from the series. I'm going to go Teoscar Hernandez here. I kind of do this a lot. I talk about Teoscar getting better and better, and it's because he is. The dude has just been slowly on the incline pretty much all of the second half of what we've seen so far this season. That injury definitely set him back towards the beginning of the year, but he's slowly becoming the player that we all expected him to be once again. In this series, obviously had the home run in the first game, but he walked 3 times. He had a few RBIs, a couple extra base hits. He was really good. So I like to see Teoscar playing so well, because as we all know, not only does his bat help the lineup, but it also helps the bats around him in the lineup, because the guys sitting in front of him get protected by a really, really strong bat. And all of a sudden, that extra kink in the Jays lineup is working again, and there's so much more danger there. So Teoscar being good, and as Lourdes too, the corner outfielders have really picked it up, but Teoscar especially has just been fantastic, especially in the series.
Yeah, I mean, so Teo's a back-to-back Silver Slugger, and depending on what position Aaron Judge ends up registering at the end of this year, like if he's in the center fielder category, Teo could be a Silver Slugger again.
Aaron Judge is a center fielder at this point.
Yeah, that's what I think. So like Teo is firmly putting himself back in the conversation. I like that. Vladdy gets a 3-hit day today. Even when Teo doesn't get a hit, he gets 2 walks, and you give like an assist to Teo on the fact that Vladdy has 3 hits, because
Totally.
they have to throw him some pitches. You can't just put guys on base for Teoscar Hernandez anymore.
Yeah.
That's not what you do. So, yeah, I like that pick. I'm going with the other corner outfielder, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He had a great series. He went 7 for 15 in the series with 2 doubles and a homer, and is just flat out raking recently. Like where Espinal has potentially, he was like a 300 hitter earlier. Now he slumped a little, like probably to a more sustainable, like hitting the high 2s with, a low 700s OPS and play good defense. And Gurriel said, like, yeah, I can fill that spot. He's in 295 after 2 hits today when you're listening yesterday, but we're recording after. OPS is starting to flirt with 800 at 784 as we speak. And just in the series, he's had a really hot month, and it's looking like maybe he's not totally just streaky Lourdes anymore, because it's been over a month now. Like it really kind of started a month and a bit ago back in Anaheim. And we'll talk more about things that started in Anaheim later in the episode. But Lourdes, yeah, just had a great series, continues to be one of the most consistent hitters the Jays have.
Totally. Maybe they're getting this consistent because they're eating Built Bars, Ben, from the people who invented healthy and tasty comes the latest gift to your taste buds. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? Your friends at Built have given coconut brownie chunk the Puffs treatment. That's right, the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar flavor you love in a delicious chewy marshmallow covered 100% real chocolate It's like a fluffy cloud of coconut brownie goodness. But stop drooling and listen, all right? They're good for you. Low calorie, low sugar, high protein, and all delicious. Coconut brownie chunk puffs are only here for a limited time. Go to built.com now to make sure you don't miss out. They are going fast because they taste amazing. All Built bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that tastes good and is good for you. The best part about Built Puffs is, of course, they taste amazing, but you can enjoy them guilt-free because they're actually good for you. They are the perfect treat, perfect when you've got a craving you need to satisfy your sweet tooth, or if you need a quick, healthy snack, they're an excellent source of protein. Delicious coconut, rich, sweet brownie, creamy marshmallow. Stop fantasizing. Get to built.com to order your box of coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs right now. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. That promo code is LOCKED15.
I
All right.
revealed too early.
Yeah, you did. It's
okay.
All right, it is time, Ben. You can reach us on Twitter. You can reach us via YouTube comment. But if you're an avid listener, you're getting sick of us talking about this email address, okay? And there it is. Bang! Look at that. Boom.
Audio
Locked
listeners
on
don't know what
Blue
we're talking
Jays
about.
real. Yeah, audio listeners, you don't see it right now,
We
but
made
there
a
is a ticker.
Bones made it. Video. Bones made it.
I
Bones made
did. I did it. I made a little ticker. It says email us lockedonbluejaysreal. That's REAL at gmail.com. We'll read them. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to stick by our word. Ben and I said, load up on the emails, and we're going to read the big bag of emails that we're going to have. Now, I'll tell you what, we didn't get a single email after that first two, but were those first two good? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you can be part of the two. Hopefully more than two as we move along. But we're going to read them, and we're going to answer whatever questions they might have inside. Ben, are you amped? Are you pumped?
I'm incredibly amped. I'm incredibly pumped. I'm excited to see our live feed of ESPN headquarters as they freak out over our ticker that's about to dominate sports coverage. We have the ultimate ticker.
It's true. We do.
So yeah, I'm all over.
I also saw on Twitter one of our emailers said that it wasn't working, but it is working. I assure you that because we got your email, Matt. And I'm going to read them now. He says, "Hey, Ben and Bones, love the podcast and really enjoy listening to you guys dive deep on Daily J's content while playing fun games," which my favorite is He Was a J. I love that. He said, "I would love to see Ben have a go at guessing in a later season too." That's a good call from Matt. I think I'm going to have to do it.
I think we're going to try that. Maybe when season 3's done, you do season 4. Maybe that's the twist.
Okay, I'd be happy to. That'd be pretty fun. The reason that we do it the way we do it right now is because Ben is the resident massive grown-up Jays fan.
Right.
So we assumed it would be harder for me than it is for him. Maybe I'll just have to give you really hard ones.
Yeah. I'll send you the list. I have the master list of every He Was a Blue Jay we've ever done too, so it's not an issue.
Okay.
Like overlap.
Sounds good. He also says, Ben got me thinking today when he said that all the best teams in the AL are in the East. So my question is, what would it take for the MLB to change around the divisions in the AL so that the postseason better reflects the best teams in the conference? Is that even possible? Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work. So what do you think about this, Ben?
So I'm going to lead off by saying I don't think they change the divisions. They might change how you qualify for the playoffs. That to me feels more realistic. I don't know about you, but non-geographically based divisions just doesn't feel like it makes any sense.
Well, the way they used to do it, right? Before there were so many teams and before there were divisions, was they just lined up all the teams. And back in the really early days of baseball, whoever the top two were, they went to the World Series. And then, of course, there were playoffs slowly put in, more and more playoffs. But, you have the kind of thing you have this season is the Twins are in first in the Central. And I think, there's a good chance that there's an AL East team that doesn't come first in the AL East that has a better record than the Twins. So should they be rewarded, or should the current system does not reward that team?
No. I would say what I kind of like divisions mattering because they help rivalries matter. You don't care
Totally.
as much about how much you beat the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Rays or the Orioles, 6-7 years ago, if the division is not at stake. I think, although I'm fine with it the way it is, I'd rather them go more balanced schedule, and make it so it's like, okay, well, because there's a good chance the Twins and the Red Sox and Blue Jays and Rays all finish with the same record this year. And part of it's going to be because the Twins got to play the Tigers 18 times and the Royals 18 times. And the Blue Jays got to play the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays 18 times. And the Orioles would be in the mix in the Central.
See, but there, if you do that, you kind of lose the allure of the division, right? You kind of lose the feeling of you're playing your division. And I think the AL East kind of loses the ability to go around and say, we've been playing the hardest division in baseball all season long, just killing each other kind of thing. If everybody, there's pros and cons of what you just said. I think that it would be kind of cool to see the entire AL just play the entire AL. I mean, that would be interesting. Would also be interesting for travel. I wonder how that would kind of shake out. But if you played an even slate or just a more even slate, maybe you still play more games against the division, just less so. I think that would be interesting. Surely, I mean, if the Twins had to go and play the Yankees as much as the Jays, the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Orioles do, maybe their record is worse. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's surely a good question.
Yeah, like you could even maybe you don't play everyone in your division. And again, I like it the way it is, but I'm just throwing stuff at the wall here because I like the theoretical questions. I think that's one of the cool stuff about the emails. Maybe you play everyone in your division 12 times instead of 18. That opens up 24 more games. Maybe you're playing more against your league. Maybe you're playing more interleague. Maybe it's that you don't have to wait like 3 years to play certain teams in the interleague. Maybe there's just more interleague play in general. And that might not make travel worse if like East plays East more and Central plays Central more and stuff like that. I do want to say overall, though, expanding the playoffs does help that. The Toronto Blue Jays were good enough to make the playoffs last year. They were denied because of how the playoffs work in the division that they play in. If they played in another division, they more than likely would have made the playoffs because.
So here's the question I have, though. Say the Jays finish with a better record than the Twins. Should they be given the Twins spot and the Twins are then a wild card team?
Now that's an interesting question. I think the division doesn't matter. Like there's always
because that's kind of what the NFL is, isn't it?
It's no, the top 4, the division winners host.
Yeah, I guess they're all
still.
Yeah, you're right.
But
you can be a wild card team and win your division in the NFL.
Well, you could play in the wild card round, but you're not a wild card team. If you win your division.
Well, if you're playing in the wild card round, you're a wild card team, no?
No, I wouldn't say so because the wild card teams are the road teams. So like it's like the NFC East.
Okay, I guess that's
except
fair.
for last year, like a 7-9 team's going to make it, but they host a playoff game because they won their division.
Yeah, that's dumb though.
Oh, that's dumb. But unfortunately, this isn't Locked On Packers.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, I don't know. I do think the playoff format is fine the way it is. It's opening up to 7 league next year, unless I'm mistaken. Which I actually think is maybe one too many, but like definitely the AL East won't be as big of a problem at that point. So I do think they could balance the schedule. They could make divisions matter less, and it would allow more teams to get in. But would it be more fun? That's what I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, baseball also a sport, I think, that has the most curmudgeon fans who are like, I don't want it to change. So me too. I mean, I'm staring at one and you're staring at one too. So,
yeah.
All right, let's get to the second email before we take a break. This one from Vince. Vince, we appreciate you as well. Matt and Vince, we appreciate both of you for being our emailers of the week. Hey guys, not sure if the yet to have it happen thing is just a shtick. It's not a shtick. It was not a shtick. These are the only 2 emails we've got. But he says, I'll bite. Just discovered you guys this week, which is weird because I already listened to Locked On Packers. If you listeners don't know, Ben and I both huge Packers fans, so this guy's got points for us.
Also in this intersection of following the Blue Jays and Packers.
We love you, Vince.
Yeah.
So I'm well familiar with the network of podcasts, but somehow never put 2 and 2 together until a couple of days ago. So far, I'm enjoying the podcast a lot. It's quite different than the Packers one, which is more traditional sports talk sounding podcast. Yours I enjoy listening to in the morning because it's like having someone to talk Jays with in the morning, something he's missing. So I appreciate that. He said, I'm heading to Seattle to see them next week and couldn't be more excited. If you guys have ever made that trip, you should share your experience on the pod because I've heard so many great stories about that experience. I'd be interested to hear yours if you've gone. Anyway, keep up the great work. Looking forward to tuning in. Go Jays. Vince and Matt, we appreciate both of you very much. I haven't made that trip. I don't think you have either, right, Ben?
No, I'm going to sound incredibly privileged at this point in time. So
Oh,
I've
here
been to
we go.
almost every ballpark in Major League Baseball, but Seattle is one of 3 I have not been to.
Look at that. Not privileged enough.
Yeah.
I got to go to Detroit, which was cool because there were like a ton of Jays fans there. So like it was kind of a home game. Or kind of a home series, really. All 3 games were like that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to do Seattle.
No, and it's probably the best road fan environment for the Blue Jays. I'm pretty jealous of Vince getting to go there. Yeah, I would say like that's definitely you've only been following the Jays really from now. So like I'm assuming you haven't been to other Jays road environments other than a Yankee game. Where we're just
I
not
never actually have been to one of those.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're not going to pack those seats anyway because the Yankee fans probably will. But I went to Cleveland once for a Jays game, and there was a pretty good road crowd too. But I even remember, like, back in May, that Angels series that I got to do, like, I wasn't there, but there were kind of an obscene number of Blue Jays fans in Anaheim.
Really?
So while Seattle is, like, the cornucopia of it.
I guess if you're going to travel to one series, it's that one, right? If you're like from
And I think
Vancouver or something.
if you're Canadian and you live in an American city and you like baseball, well, like this is the time, you don't miss your chance,
Yeah,
like,
true.
You don't care about the Angels, but you probably do about the Blue Jays. So like,
Yeah.
it is kind of one of the cool things about the fan base is I feel like we do travel like kind of sneaky well.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I think there's also sneaky great fan base. There's a lot of them everywhere. So there's that too. All right. I'm going to read a BetOnline ad real quick.
Okay.
But first, I'm going to take this ticker off. BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's Stanley Cup Championship, although it already happened, as well as Major League Baseball. BetOnline.net is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Oh my goodness, I hiccuped in the middle of that.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks.
All right. We have not left that much time for this A series, and I didn't want to. We talked about it before we went on. There's one thing only that should happen in this series. They should sweep the Oakland Athletics. It's not just that the Oakland A's are bad, and they're bad. They got the worst record in the American League, and it's like they're 3.5 back of KC. It's not even like they're on the heels. They got the worst record in baseball, pardon me. The worst record in baseball. Worse than the Reds.
Yeah, they're bad, dude.
A, you have to sweep them because of that. B, Frankie Montas and Paul Blackburn not lined up to pitch this series. So you're not even getting like the 2 only bright spots of the Oakland A's. C, we were looking for our scaries, which we're going to give you in a moment. There is one technically and kind of not 700 OPS.
Technically
hitter.
not.
Yeah, there's technically not, but we're going to say there's one 700 OPS hitter on the A's. 699 point something. We're not going to say his name yet because he is one of our scaries. And I searched for on MLB's like research platform, all players, not qualified players. All players means if a guy got called up for one game and had like 2 hits and got sent back down, he's good. Like every team's got an all players guy that's gotten 1,000 OPS because he played 3 games. The A's have had no one hit well in any stretch of sample size this year. And
They're
with
bad.
that, Bones, who's your scary?
My scary is the backstop, Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy actually raking in the past like 15 games. Past 11, he's hit 342, couple jacks, 8 ribbies, 14 hits in 11 games, 5 runs scored, and he's also good against Toronto, which is kind of crazy. In how many games has he played? He's only played 8 games, but in those 8 games, he has a 982 OPS. He's hit a couple home runs, almost 10 RBIs at 9, and he's got a 321 average. So the guy hits the ball against Toronto. Um, he also, I mean, isn't necessarily makes him scary for this series, but I will give him credit for having created anything from this rotation. He's helped these guys actually be a decent pitching team. Like they're not terrible on the bump, and their bullpen's not bad either. So Sean Murphy, who's a pretty darn good catcher, is my scary.
Wait, actually, was he the one with the 700 OPS, or is it Seth Brown?
Seth Brown has a 699. Murphy's got a
Yes, it's not even
698.
Murphy. I said the guy was coming up, but it's not Murphy. But it is a good. I mean, especially all things considered with the A's. Like Murphy's definitely their best player. I think. I don't think there's a question. I'm going to go to that pitching staff that you talked about that he's made better. One of the biggest improvements he's had from anyone, at least so far, is Cole Irvin. Second year in Oakland after not really 2 years because he was very, very lightly used, but 2 like pretty bumpy years in Philadelphia. Second year in Oakland, 13 starts, 3.58 ERA. He's by far the only like pitcher that you could at all expect to really have a good game against the Blue Jays. So you really, I mean, he's the one. It's not scary. I want to be clear. It's a 3.58 ERA. I don't care about record, but it's a 2-6 record. It's not really like he's been beating people. His strikeout to walk is decent, but he struck out way less than 1 per inning. So Cole Irvin's my scary, but I didn't even convince you that much. I'm going to say my hype train, then you hit yours. Kevin Bisgio, just continuously astounded with this dude who, since being called up, has a 940 OPS, and that was called up on May 26th. He started the year 1 or 2 for 24, 1 or 2 for 24. I don't even remember these days, because over that stretch since May 26th, he has a higher OPS than George Springer, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Bo Bichette. All of them. The only guys got a better OPS, only 2 are Lourdes and Kirk. So Kevin's my guy. Love that guy.
He's playing very well. So you got to appreciate him for that. I'm going hype train of the man who is having his homecoming. This is going to be Matt Chapman. This guy going back to Oco for the first time since signing with the Jays. He had a very good series, against the A's early in the year, 3rd series of the year, 3 games in April. He had 300 OPS above 1,000 for the series, had a homer, 3 RBIs, 3 hits and 10 at bats. He was really, really good. Also, of course, he knows the park, and at Oco has an over 800 OPS. Don't forget about that season 2019 where he had 36 homers, over 90 RBIs. So Matt Chapman probably going to go home when he gets up. There are going to be a lot of cheers, and he's probably going to take one out of the ballpark.
I hope there are. He got traded, so it wasn't even like he left Oakland himself, and he was a good player for them.
True, he did get traded. That's right.
So yeah, it's not his fault. I mean, he extended with the Jays, but like he got traded.
Yeah.
It's just what happens. It was on Billy. But yeah, that's all we got today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're hoping to enjoy a sweep, but we'll talk to you tomorrow. And if they lose, we will look stupid. But thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We got the second game of the series coming up. Maybe we'll talk about that Anthony Bonda acquirement and what we think of Sergio Romo so far coming up tomorrow. Maybe that's a thought. Not sure. Haven't decided, but maybe you'll have to come to find out. And before you do that, make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia. He's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. He's Matt Bonaparte. I'm Ben Shulman. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow.